Why is SPY getting wrecked with Apple and Microsoft green along with the top 6 holdings? Retail sales, China numbers coming in, pricing in, the debt ceiling falling apart. Remember, I'm always people think, oh, you're a perma-bull. And when it comes to long-term trading or investing, yeah, I'm perma-bull. But let's just be real quick. In 2022, the top 5 holdings at the time, not now. If you remember, the 2021 run was mostly driven by the Russell, right? So the Russell index, you got your SPY, you got your S&P 500, you got your NASDAQ, and you got your Dow. These are the ones that most people pay attention to, right? S&P 500, the top 500 best performing companies. NASDAQ is your technology exchange. The Dow is your top 30 companies that we basically judge the economy on because they're like large conglomerates and it's kind of like how it is, right? But then you have so many other indexes, and one of them is the Russell, right? So the Russell, whether it's the 100, 200, 300, 500, 600, 10,000, whatever, this is your mid cap, your speculative, your growth stocks, right? Your smaller cap stocks. They're good enough to not be OTCs, but they're not good enough to be in the big boys. So it's kind of like your minor leagues, right? That was up 1,000%, not accurately, but just go with it, okay? And then 2022, that shit dropped like 85%, right? Everything got destroyed. I mean, if that was the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, or the Dow, we would be in a depression. We'd be in a fucking depression because that's what it was. But these big boys, which hold up so much of the market, instead of the market falling like this, they kind of went like this, which meant the rest of the market kind of only went like this, right? Even though the rest of it was all dying, they kind of held it up. You live by the big boys, you die by the big boys, right? From an economic standpoint, things look pretty strong. Job market's strong, average hourly earnings are up, spending has been up. The problem is that it's all being done on credit, right? Credit from the proverbial credit from big corporations because of all the money they had left over from COVID and the hopes and dreams of other things, as well as people's credit card. We just saw $17 trillion, $17.05 trillion is the U.S. household debt right now. That means this economy is still going, but it's not going on, we're 125% GDP. So let's not, ratio, okay? Regardless, let's talk about this. Right now, the market should be in a major leg down. All of these companies, except these guys, are saying, we missed on revenue, we missed on sales, we missed on profit, we missed on EPS expectations, and we're cutting our guidance. We think there's a slowdown. If you look past the curtains right now, every company's earnings is a doom and gloom outlook right now. This is like the makeup that she wears the night before, okay? The next morning, it's a different story unless she gets up before you. So I want y'all to realize right now that the rest of the market is a bad picture right now. It is not pretty right now. I have been watching all of these earnings and everyone is fucking cutting forecast and guidance. You don't see that unless there is a significant belief that we are going to have a downturn. But it doesn't matter. Even some of these guys' guidance. Because there's one thing right now that is keeping these guys flying. AI. The AI hype right now. If the AI hype was not happening right now, I'm convinced we're SPY is in the 380 to 390 range right now. Does that mean that hype is going to die down, the market's going to crash? I don't know. Or does this keep these guys going long enough for some of these other ones that have been taking a real big shit to kind of hold and come back up so that they can meet in the middle and continue the run? I don't know. Just because someone has a degree, wears a suit, or worked for a big company does not make them an expert. Okay, that does not make somebody an expert, especially when you're talking about finance and economics. This is all guessing. Well, they've been doing it a long time. Great, the market's not what it was. The economy's not what it was 10 years ago. Okay, everything changes. An expert told you that putting your money in savings, right, in bank savings right now you're gonna get eaten up by inflation. You're right. But if they were an expert, they would tell you if you keep your money in something like JP Morgan, you are. But if you keep your money in one of these companies right now that are trying to attract customers that are giving between 4 and 5% APR, you're keeping up with inflation better than you were when inflation's at 2% and you're earning 0%. At least now you're keeping up with inflation to some point. But what if they cut it? Well, then you pull it out or you go to the next one. Use competition to your thing. These experts are probably working on commission and want you to put your money in something risky or something that they provide to you that they say is safe, even though it's probably just a total market fund and they're screwing you over and charging you 1.25% every quarter to give you the same thing you could be putting your money into yourself and saving all that money or whatever. Stop this with it. It's like somebody goes, I'm not going to listen to this guy. Not me, but I'm not going to listen to this guy because he didn't work on Wall Street. I trust the mechanic down the road who's been fucking putting in work in the community every day for 10 years than the guy that works at fucking Pep Boys. Well, he works at Pep Boys, so obviously he has better training and understanding, and he comes from a name brand, so he knows what he's doing more in my car. That dude's job is to do the minimum amount of work for the most amount of pay and to upsell whatever the fuck he can. Sure, he knows cars, but the guy down the road probably knows it better and probably doesn't have any vested interest. Now, that doesn't mean listen to some idiot on the internet versus some guy who is a fucking head of strategy at you know, I don't know, Jeffries or something. I'm not making that thing. But just because somebody went to college and got a degree and is a financial advisor does not mean that they're an expert per se, especially if they're not a fiduciary. Even if they are an expert, it doesn't mean they have your best interest in mind. I always told you, if you talk to somebody and they're paid for advising or talking to you about finance, ask them straight up, do you work on commission or flat rate? If it's commission, walk away, because their job is not your best interest. It's their firm and their sell's best interest. So if an expert tells you you should buy gold, or you think you should buy gold because experts tell you don't put it in your bank account because you're going to lose anything. Well, did they tell you about Apple's saving account or SoFi or Robinhood or Ally or any of those? If it's a flat rate, isn't it worse? No, because if it's a flat rate, at least you know he may not work as hard, but you know that he's not trying to upsell you something. He's not trying to give you something that is going to make more money for the company down the road. Like two guys. One guy works on commission. One guy works on flat rate. You book an hour meeting with both of these guys. In that 1 hour, he's going to do everything he can to maximize his return. It's not about, they don't care. Remember, the reason that hedge funds make money is not because they make you money. They don't care if they make you money or not. Their only job is to keep your money in their firm because they make money off of the commissions. So their job is to convince you that that's the best place to keep your money. A guy that works on a commission, he's going to try to upsell you whatever it is that either gives him the most amount of money or the company the most amount of money. Flat rate person is generally either a fiduciary, which, by the way, fiduciary's kind of changed a little bit, but a fiduciary is someone who is required by law to work in your best interest, which there's very few of these now. Or the dude doesn't have any motives. He's like, I'm getting paid whether you're here or not. And you're not an asshole. Hey, listen, man, when do you want to retire? In 40 years. Okay. How much do you make? $100,000. After net, $80,000. Okay. How much are you putting away in your IRA and 401k every month? 500 in each. Okay. Let me see all your expenses. All right. Mortgage into this. Okay. Dude, you need to stop spending so much on this, add more to this, and do that. Okay. Do you want to be safe or risky? Are you planning on having kids? Yeah? All right. Go for a target date fund, which I hate, but a target date fund. Or, you know what? Go all in on a fucking S&P at 70% and do 30% in tech / speculative or whatever, or risk. And then we can revisit this in 10 years, and if the market's, doing well, we can change those percentages away. Or 70% there, 20% here, and 10%, 5% in crypto, and 5% in emerging markets or something. I don't know. He's just going to give you the options and say, based on what we have, this is what the trajectory should look like. Oh, wow. Okay. Throw some money at your debt. Your debt's too high. Cut your expenses. Cut your credit cards. Basically what I teach you guys here. In other words, I'm just going to tell you what I know and what I think because I don't have an interest. Obviously, I'm not going to go above and beyond because I'm not getting paid to do so. And the fun thing is that if you actually get passionate about finances and being financially literate education, you could become more of an expert than a lot of these other people because you are studying and learning about what works for you specifically, not this guy who's just general knowledge that he's pushing onto each person. So, it's good to talk to somebody who has more experience than you, but don't just assume everyone is a fucking expert. I mean, no offense to either one of these people, but Kramer is considered the expert, right? Kathy Woods, because she is her name's out there and she runs a firm and she did really well for a while, expert, right? And technically they're considered experts, but experts are right, experts are wrong. Just because someone's an expert doesn't, there's some fucking, my toddler is 2 years old. And for the last year, she has been slamming keys on a keyboard and has outperformed the S&P 500 by 147%. Okay? I'm just saying.